I got a break in the rain long enough to run out and harvest some herbs from our garden, and I am so thankful that we can finally go out to the garden and get fresh food to eat. A garden needs tending more than just on Sundays, but what I really like to do is go out to the garden on Sundays and clip my herbs for the week. It is not hard to run outside and get herbs, but on busy weeknights or on rainy days like this, it can be a little bit cumbersome to run out and get herbs every single time you need them. But if you have them clipped and ready to go, you can use them whenever you want. And you don't even have to grow your own herbs to do this. So for example, this is actually cilantro that I bought from the grocery store. Just a side note, I am done trying to grow cilantro here. It bolts too fast. I never get to grow any. But that is a good point though, that you don't have to grow your own herbs. You can get herbs from the store, just trim the bottoms and then put them in water. And I kind of treat these like I would treat a flower arrangement. I arrange them beautifully, and then every couple of days I trim the bottom and I change the water. And if you do that, they will stay fresh for the full week. And if you want to make them last even longer, you can keep them in the fridge. But these things are out of sight, out of mind for me. So I like to keep them right out on my counter where I can just pick them and use them. I really think this would be nice on a little turntable on the counter. I don't have one, but I'm going to start looking for one. So that way I can put my herbs next to the stove and then I can just spin it around and grab the ones that I want. Adding fresh herbs adds a touch of really simple everyday beauty to your space, but it also makes the week much easier. And you can add those herbs into really simple recipes and elevate them like I am doing here. I am making a batch of Instant Pot spaghetti with meat sauce. You can find this recipe over on my blog at moonandmagnolia.com. Now, there's just 3 of us, so one batch of this is enough for us for dinner and even lunch the next day. But if you have a larger family, you might need to make 2 batches of this, especially if your goal is to prep a couple meals in advance like I am here. So first I'm just browning some lean ground beef and throwing in a little bit of diced onion, and now I'm pulling parsley right off the stem from the herbs that I cut. And I'm just chopping them up a little bit and throwing them right into the pot. I often like fresh herbs uncooked in my food, but I do like parsley cooked, and I also like to layer the flavors a little bit. So if I'm highlighting fresh herbs, I want to put some in the food that I'm cooking, and then later I'll put some on top for garnish. But all I'm doing then is putting the dry noodles right into the Instant Pot. I'm breaking them in half and putting them in there, throwing in 1 jar of sauce, and then I'm filling that jar up about 1.5 times or so just to barely cover the noodles. And then I cook this for 8 minutes in the Instant Pot. I actually showed how to do this on my Instant Pot meal prep video. I'll leave a link for that in the description box below. So there's a little bit more instruction there, but really it is about as easy as it can get. Once it's finished cooking, just stir it up a little bit. It will seem a little watery, and then let it sit for a few minutes before serving it. And then you can serve this however you want. I'm using a little bit of Parmesan and fresh basil from my garden. As moms, it's not just during a Sunday reset that we spend endless effort prioritizing our families and homes. But one of the things that I'm trying to prioritize for myself and for the benefit of my family is better sleep. I want to offer a huge thank you to Birch Living for sponsoring today's video. They are currently running their Memorial Day sale, and they're offering an exclusive discount for Moon and Magnolia viewers. Just use the discount code BirchPartner27 to get 27% off your mattress. This is the Birch Luxe mattress, which is a a premium upgrade, and we opted for this one because of its plush pillow top. Ever since having my daughter 4 years ago, I have had the worst time staying asleep. But since we've upgraded to our Birch mattress, I am sleeping through the night, and that is practically a miracle. I feel more rested and I feel capable of showing up for the day because you can do all the Sunday resets in the world, but if you don't feel rested, you cannot show up for yourself or for your family day in and day out. I also spent a ton of time hunched over my computer editing YouTube videos and writing blog posts. But after sleeping on my Birch Living mattress for just a few nights, my upper back pain was gone, and I swear my posture is better. Birch Living makes fiberglass-free mattresses that are crafted with responsibly sourced material, such as organic cotton, organic wool, and 100% latex. Plus, their mattresses are free from polyurethane foam, which can cause harmful off-gassing. And because of that, I can rest every single night knowing that my mattress will not cause harm to myself or to my family, which is especially nice during those 6 a.m. wake-up calls when my daughter comes crawling into bed with us. With your Birch mattress, you get a 100-night sleep trial, so you get more than 3 months to make sure you love it. Now, the best part about all this is that Birch offers delivery right to your doorstep for free if you live in the US. And they also offer in-home setup and removal to make sure that your experience is as convenient as possible. I love my Birch Living mattress, and I know you will too. Head over to birchliving.com/moonandmagnolia and use my exclusive discount code BirchPartner27 to get 27% off your mattress. And you also get 2 free pillows with your mattress purchase during the Memorial Day sale. Again, thanks so much to Birch Living for sponsoring today's video. A few months ago, I bought a whipped beef tallow balm from Azure Standard, and I think I showed that on one of my Azure Standard hauls. I'll find that link and put it in the description box, but I loved it. But it was like $30, and I know I can make it cheaper. And a rainy Sunday is a really good day to do little self-care projects like this, making yourself something that is kind of sweet and special that isn't just food for your family. Of course, you don't want to use beef tallow that you've already used for cooking, so I grabbed a fresh one out of the freezer and I just ran it underneath some hot water for a minute or two so I could actually just cut into it. And then I put, I'd say about a half a cup or so into a Pyrex measuring cup and then put that in a little pot of boiling water just so it can melt. So it's kind of acting like a double boiler. And that took a little bit longer than I anticipated. So while that was going, I actually set up my Bruden Taylor proofing box so I can get my sourdough starter going. Ideally, for a Sunday reset, I would recommend feeding your sourdough starter before you go to bed on Saturday, but I fell asleep and I did not get a chance to feed it. So by putting it in my proofing box at a warm temperature, it will just speed up the process so I can make some freezer sourdough pizza dough, which I'll show you in just a minute. But I'm also getting some frozen meat out of the freezer and putting it into a dish so I can stick it in the fridge to thaw. One thing that I have been doing lately that's driving me crazy is I am forgetting to pull out meat to thaw, and then I'm in a huge pinch at dinner time because I have nothing ready to go. So I pulled out some chicken tenders and some ground beef and just threw them right into the fridge, and then I will cook them up as we need them during the week. And now that beef tallow is done, and you can see here it is completely liquefied. And I let it cool for about 5 minutes before adding about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. You can use any liquid oil, avocado, olive, almond oil, anything like that will work. And I learned a few things here, so I'm going to save you the trouble of making these mistakes. 1, before you try to whip your beef tallow balm, let it cool. It doesn't necessarily have to be solidified, but it should be starting to solidify. 2, if you want to use a stand mixer, you have to make a lot. So that was not enough for my stand mixer. It just kind of smashed it against the sides of the bowl and then it couldn't whip it. So I transferred it into a smaller bowl and used a hand mixer, and that worked like a charm. So unless you're making a really big batch, I recommend just using a hand mixer and a bowl and then whip it up until it is white and creamy and fluffy. And now I'm just putting it into a little glass jar. I think it would actually be better if it was in a brown jar, but I don't have one. You do want to keep it out of the light. So if you have a little brown jar, that would work better, but you can also just store it in your bathroom cabinet, or if you have a drawer in your bathroom or something like that, just to keep it out of direct sunlight. You could also add in essential oils to this. I opted not to because I'm putting it on my face and I have very sensitive skin, but either way, you can't go wrong. And this is light, fluffy, and it's so luxurious for a fraction of the price. Sundays are a really great day to just routinely water your houseplants if you have them. And lately, I am trying to propagate my houseplants because I want a ton of plants in my greenhouse, but I don't want to buy a ton of plants. So every time I water my plants, I am cutting a little bit off and sticking them in water to propagate them. But another thing I try to do is if it's raining outside, I try to water my houseplants. Years ago, my mom told me that she read somewhere that if you have succulents, you should pay attention to when it rains in the desert, and when it rains in the desert, water your succulents. And so I try to water my houseplants whenever it's raining outside because if those plants were outside, they would be getting a good drink. So it's just something I try to do. You don't have to do it if you've already watered your houseplants, but it is something that can just keep you on track sometimes, not just on Sundays. Last week, my husband used up the last of our frozen pizza dough making pizzas in his new pellet smoker, which were delicious, by the way. So I am stocking up on some freezer-friendly sourdough pizza dough. You can get this recipe over on my blog at moonandmagnolia.com. It's actually my #1 recipe on my blog, so be sure to check it out. And I'm simply just milling some kamut. You can use any type of whole wheat flour, whether it's store-bought or fresh milled. Just make sure if you're milling your own flour that it is a hard wheat. And I've really been loving kamut in just about everything lately, so that's what I'm putting in this pizza. A single batch of this is 100 grams of whole wheat flour and 500 grams of all-purpose flour. But if you wanted to step up the nutrition, you could even do a 50-50 split with your whole wheat and all-purpose flour. It's really up to you. We do a ton of 100% fresh milled flour breads around here. So I like to just switch things up sometimes and do a little bit of half and half or a blend of flours because I really don't take an all or nothing approach to milling flour. But this is a double batch of dough. So this will make 8 pizza crusts. The last time I made pizza dough, I thought it would be a year's worth, but we got through it in 8 months, not a year. So I was close. But that's what I like about this is that you can make a really big batch of it. And then all you have to do is knead the dough until it passes the window pane test, bulk ferment it until it is doubled and domed on top, and then you simply just divide it, shape it into little balls, and then I throw those little balls into individual sandwich bags and then put them all into a freezer bag. This was not finished bulk fermenting before I needed to finish filming, so I don't have the end result, but I do have this on my blog and I have a full YouTube tutorial about how to make a year's worth of pizza dough that shows the whole process, so I will leave those links in the description box below. But often when I approach a Sunday reset, I'm not just thinking about the week ahead. I'm also thinking about many weeks ahead or many months ahead. What can I do on this Sunday that can help me in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or even in 6 months? And often the answer is freezer everything. And freezer friendly pizza dough is one of my favorites because you don't want to make dough every single time you want a pizza. All you have to do is pull it out of the freezer, thaw it, and you're ready to go. So one time making dough on a Sunday helps me out for months. Here I am unpacking my latest Azure standard haul. It actually came in on this day, but this is a good reminder that Sundays are a great time to restock on the basics. I actually don't like doing my big grocery shopping on Sundays because there's other things I want to do with my Sunday, but Sunday is a really good time to make sure you have your pantry staples and the basics, the things that you cannot live without that make your life a lot easier. Every Sunday reset, I like to make at least one breakfast because that is often the one that I just don't have time to make. I can usually figure out dinner even on the busiest days, but breakfast can be really tricky because we are up and out of the door. I am making sourdough chocolate chip pancakes and I'm using my no flour sourdough discard recipe. This is over on my blog at moonandmagnolia.com. And I call these no flour pancakes because there's no flour in them other than what's in the discard because it just uses straight sourdough discard. So this is a half batch. I only had enough discard for a half batch. So it's 1 cup of sourdough discard, 2 eggs, a little bit of baking powder, maple syrup, melted butter, a pinch of salt, and of course, chocolate chips. I'm using dark chocolate chips that I actually just got from my Azure Standard haul. What I like about this pancake recipe, especially for something like a Sunday reset where you probably have a number of projects going on, even if they're just small projects, you're kind of juggling a lot, is it doesn't require any extra work. You don't have to add any extra flour, there's no bulk fermenting. You just mix it up and throw it in the skillet. And when you are making double or triple batches of things like chocolate chip pancakes, for example, I recommend making them just a little bit smaller. You could even make cute little silver dollar ones if they're for little kids, because you can cook a couple pancakes at a time. And that ends up saving a lot of time as you are meal prepping for the week ahead. These pancakes freeze like a dream. You can just pull one out, pop it in the microwave for like 20 seconds, and you are ready to go. I hope you are off to a wonderful week, and I will see you again next time.